All over the world, people are talking together about challenging issues. People are coming together to talk about common problems. Now there are more places and more people open to deliberation as a useful way of talking together. Neutral moderators play a critical role in guiding a public discussion process that is both deliberative and purposeful. We're changing the way communities work together. Whether you're just getting started or you've been at it for some time, you are part of a growing international network of people who are doing this work in their communities. Here are some moderators who are learning. They face challenging situations. They've acquired special skills, developed unique ways to prepare for forums, and they have just a little bit of advice to share. Often our individual talents allow us to develop special skills as moderators.
I think that I try very, very hard to listen to people, to really try and hear those feelings that bring out people's real heart sense, their values, what really means a lot to them.
I think one of my skills as a moderator is being basically unflappable, not being taken totally by surprise, or at least not reacting in negative ways to things that people might do. And if indeed you have people that get excited about something and the issue, to be able to turn to other people or even turn a question in such a way that they can kind of come back to focus. And I'm comfortable doing that.
I think it's the capacity to listen to people and to have a picture about what's the presence here and who is participating, who is less participating, and to give the chance very diplomatically to the shy people to talk. But the capacity to listen and to be patient is very important.
One special skill I suppose that I may possess in working with the youth forums that I've moderated is building rapport with the students.
I'm not afraid of people. And I had a military service too, so I'm not afraid of difficult people on top of that. So I think maybe that's helped me get through the mechanics of moderating.
Having a fairly broad grasp of the topic that I'm moderating, I mean, I think that's one of my strengths. I try to be well prepared, and so that when people bring things up, I can think how they fit and how they'll work.
Preparation is key to all moderators. Each moderator may prepare for the experience in different and often quite creative ways.
I find that if I can hear that choice in my own words, in my own voice, that I begin to find a part of me that connects with that choice. And once I've internalized it like that and I understand it from that very personal level, then it's easy for me to begin to construct the questions. What kinds of questions would I want to hear, would I need to hear, that would help me dig deep within myself to find that point where I connect with that particular choice. So I write a little script or do a little improv theater for it.
You never know what's going to happen. And each forum, each public session has its challenges, has its tensions. And for me, always the main point is just to feel it, and feel it on time, so that I see where the possible problem's going to be, so that I better get ready for them and find my way out before they happen.
Getting ready to moderate a forum has been an evolving process for me over the years. What I used to do is drive my family crazy. Anybody that got the newspaper after me had huge gaps because I had a scissors in my hand anytime I read the newspaper, just cutting out any article that I could find on health care, on juvenile violence. I no longer think that my role is to have all that in my head. And what I do mainly to get ready for the forum is, obviously, I prepare by looking at any issue guide that's been prepared. I think about the kinds of questions that I could ask under each of the approaches that would really get people to consider the costs of or the consequences of going in a certain direction. And I also prepare not just on the content of the issue, but I always remind myself that it's not just my responsibility, but it's the group's responsibility, and to make sure to make that clear at the beginning of a forum.
In moderating public discussions, we're sure to encounter challenges. Thank goodness we can learn from them. In forums, it's important for people to combine solid information on the issue with what's valuable to them.
You cannot diminish the importance of facts, but what you can do is shift them down to what I would consider a deeper level and say something effective, that's very interesting information. Why do you think it's important to you? And immediately get them talking about, their personal feelings and their values.
Stories go a long way in helping people connect to the choices. In a forum on youth violence, one moderator brought in a story of 10 youth she'd just seen outside the forum.
So when I told that story to the participants in the forum, you could just feel and see and almost hear the brain waves going off. It's like, oh, these are children of our own community. They were praying over a dead animal. But yet those are the ones we were going to lock up. Well, maybe there's hope. Maybe we can reach them. And it just changed the whole nature of the conversation. It was a good thing to do to get them to localize it, get them to feel the personal issue and the community issue involved.
Nearly every moderator is challenged by the need to balance participation in the room, especially when someone has a great deal of expertise on an issue.
He added greatly to the forum, but the problem was he wanted to keep adding and adding and adding. And so I used all of the kind of indirect methods that I could think of to get somebody else involved. I asked questions like, what would somebody else have to say? How would someone respond to that so that he didn't immediately, make another comment? I used the nonverbal things like shifting in my seat so that I wasn't making eye contact with him. No matter what I did, he had something to say, and took a long time to say it. And so I thought, I'd be very clever, and I'd ask a question to which he could not possibly have an answer. I didn't know if he was married or single, but he was a man. And so I said, what would a mother in the room have to say about this issue? Before anyone else in the room could say a thing, he said, if my mother were here. And then he proceeded to answer the question in her voice. I don't think I really ended up handling that situation very well. I probably should have just been direct much earlier on.
Some participants may be reluctant to speak up.
Some people are nervous of talking in public. And some people just like, they think that they don't know much about the issue we're going to talk, so they always look what other people are going to say. So the moderator have to pay attention and make kind of map of people which are in the room, and then start actually balancing all this.
Usually you can find one person that you can make eye contact with that will share a story about that particular issue that seems to break the ice, help make people a little more comfortable. So I look for body language, I look for eye contact, especially in a setting where I don't have anybody talking at the beginning.
As moderators practice and gain more skill, they understand that it's not always as easy as it looks.
So part of the problem is that people don't take you that seriously when you are much younger than them. So I had always to prove myself as being as mature as they are and as good in my work as they may be in their work.
When you're in the heat of things, you're thinking about all the mechanics, you're thinking about making sure everything is there, who's fidgeting, who's... there's a zillion things going on in your head at one time when you're moderating. And in the process of keeping up with all of that, am I missing a magic moment? And I sometimes call it the sparkle that gets everything going, or the spark. And I don't want to miss that.
As you practice moderation, when you first begin, you tend to use a very rigid structure, at least I did, and you tended to try to use a cookbook approach to moderating. You know, this is the way the forum is to progress. But as you have more practice moderating, it gives you a greater comfort level in saying, this is not the time to evoke the hard and fast rules of moderating, and to try to keep the deliberation going.
Keeping the deliberation going, that's what it's all about.
Doing a forum that they don't realize till the end is kind of like using a dimmer light that you would see in a room. You may have knowledge or light on the subject, but actually after you get through the forum, it's like somebody turned the dimmer light up, and it's like light you've already had, but you just broadened it.
Moderating and participating in deliberative forums is incredibly rewarding. With reflection and practice, we are learning how to talk to one another in our communities to address our most difficult problems. This is a journey that requires our skills and talents be put to good use and shared. As we come together across the world to face our problems publicly and deliberatively, we are walking this road together and learning as we go.